to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back once again into Saturday morning, and I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And I'm trying something different today, folks. I'm trying something different. I've got a couple cameras up here, and I'm not streaming it live as I have in the past. But what I'm doing is I'm going to try to get some video footage of this at the same time. So we are going to see how this works. I just wanted to jump on here, and we're going to talk about a couple things that happened this week. Some big things that happened over the last couple weeks. Some of them which I did not touch on during the last podcast, and that would be the Maine shooter. There was a shooting up in Maine. A gentleman, I think he killed. I don't have the numbers right in front of me today, but they have since caught the gentleman. But he entered into a bowling alley. Lots of crazy stuff going on. He entered into a bowling alley that was a gun-free zone, and he went ahead and proceeded to shoot the place up. Walked in there with an AR-15. I think he had a pistol as well. Went in there with the AR-15, shot the place up, harmed people, killed people, and then he proceeded to a bar and grill, in which he did the same thing, and nobody stopped him. And then shortly thereafter that, we had another incident that a lot of people may not have heard about. There was actually a mass shooting that wasn't actually a shooting at all, that tried to take place in Colorado. Now, I want to get in here. I want to connect some dots. Now, if you follow the Patriot Defense Podcast very much, and thank you if you do, I do appreciate that, you will know in the past that, I tend to believe, and, if you don't want to believe in conspiracy theories, or if you don't agree with this at all, you can just shut the podcast off right now. But I tend to believe that not all of these, but a good majority of these shootings happen for a reason. I believe they happen because the government gets in, the higher-ups, the people that want to take your firearms get in, and they intervene, and they cause things to happen. And I think I went over it in some past podcasts, but I believe that they do this in a way through like social media, right? So you got to look at this. So you think about the lockdown. Think about everyone that was locked up, that was locked down. Kids were, they didn't go to school. They were doing online learning. They had access to these people through social media. And they can do the same thing through video games. And I'm not saying inherently video games are bad because of their content, but I'm saying that you can get online and play. And a lot of these kids will play, and these people will play late at night, right? So I'm trying to tie all this together. So I think that whether you're a child, whether you're a young person, whether you're an adult that has created and done these mass shootings, I think with social media has left a door open, has created a path for government to get in there and find individuals that are possibly depressed, possibly struggling with their mental health just a little bit, right? And it was essentially created by the government. And, as far as, the lockdowns and whatnot, and they have gotten in there, they've offered him drugs, they've offered him a caring, listening ear, they've encouraged them to go and do certain things. I mean, that's my thoughts on this whole subject. I think that there is a few of these that do happen by random because there are some sick, twisted, evil people out there. But I think the government has also jumped in and caused a lot of these, because a lot of these incidences happen shortly thereafter, within days sometimes, of them calling for gun control, of calling for trying to get and get certain weapons and certain guns from the American people. They don't want us to own firearms. And it's just very, is it coincidental that they tend to happen right after there's a call for or a push for these things, or right when they need support for a gun bill that they're trying to push? All of a sudden, a few days before the vote, there is a mass shooting, right? It's too coincidental for me. You can't prove to me otherwise that this isn't really happening. Years ago, I would have said, no, that can't be happening. That's crazy talk. But now that we've seen everything that the government does and is willing to do, and those conspiracy theories are coming true, a lot of them. So now I've kind of premised this whole story with this, okay? So we just started talking about the shooting up in Maine. So something stood out very odd to me about this shooting. So typically, the shooter will go in and they will end up killing themselves. They will end up, but within like immediately, like at the scene, like during this whole shooting, they end up killing themselves at the very end, or a couple hours later, police find them dead somewhere, or a couple hours later, police have a standoff with them and end up taking them out, right? That's usually the way it works. Well, this is a very odd situation to me. And then what kind of threw up some red flags to me was this took a couple days. Like they searched for this guy. It wasn't just a couple hours. Like there was a bunch of time that went down between the time that this shooting occurred and the time that they found his body, right? Now, what's really odd, that stands out to me. Also, what's really odd to me is that the fact that they said he got away in a boat. How often do you hear that? You don't, right? I think that just happened to be an easy way out for them. So this is what I think happened, okay? I think that he went in there, he did the mass shooting, he did the shootings, and I think that he was either supposed to commit suicide right away or they were supposed to take him out right away. And I think it went bad. I think something happened, something went wrong, and I think I'm going to say, he went rogue, right? He went rogue, he disappeared. That's what I think happened. And I don't think they could find him. And I think that they needed to create, they needed time. They needed to create some time, right? So they could get this sorted out and figure out what was going on for fear this gentleman get out and leak his secrets to the public, quite possibly that, hey, look I was set up, I was forced to do this, I was whatever, right? And I think they needed that time. So I think what they did is I think they created a story. They looked, said, okay, this gentleman owns a boat. I heard they found his car at the marina or at the docks. Very easy to plant a car there. I think then they created the story of him getting in his boat and trying to escape via boat. At this point, I don't think they didn't know where he was at. They were searching everywhere, to the point they went to one of his old places of one of his old employers, which is this recycling yard. And I believe that they checked there. They said, I think I heard they checked there twice and they couldn't find anything. Well, once they eventually caught up with this gentleman, right, this mass shooter, this mass murderer, I then think they took him and I think they placed him in that trailer that they found at the recycling yard. And I heard, right, I got some people that have found some things and said some things to me. I haven't, I'll be honest, this is just coming out of my brain here. I'm just kind of like trying to put pieces together for me. And I haven't found any hard evidence, haven't bothered to look for it, as far as I heard that they said he had committed suicide. But I heard he was also shot twice in the head. Like, if you commit suicide, if you unalive yourself, you do not shoot yourself twice in the head. That doesn't happen. That's not a thing. So that was interesting to me. And then the fact that they put him back at the recycling yard. The fact that they put him back at this recycling yard, I think they did what they needed to do. I think they put him there in the trailer at the recycling yard because they knew it was going to be clear at the time because they'd already searched it twice. And then I think they phoned someone up and said, hey, look, check the recycling yard again. And that's when they found him. But what you don't know is about the same time, or 2 hours after, I think, about 2 hours after this happened, they found a gentleman up in Colorado, I believe. Or shortly thereafter, they found this kid in Colorado. They found him dead in a bathroom, and I don't have my notes in front of me. You can look it up. I mean, this is a public news story. A lot of people actually have heard about this. But he was at some, I won't say amusement park, but some like adventure park or something like that. They found him dead in the women's bathroom. And they found him dead in the women's bathroom. He had body armor. He had a ballistic helmet on. They said he had ghost guns, handgun, a rifle. They said he had real and fake explosives, real and fake guns. I'm not sure about that, the whole fake gun thing. I have an idea, which I'll touch back on here shortly. But they found him dead in the bathroom, And according to the news story I heard, they found also he had committed suicide in there before he went out and even shot anybody. He was in the women's bathroom, and he had scrawled on the wall, "I am not a killer," or something roundabouts. "I am not a killer." Okay, that's weird. So here's what I think happened. I think when this guy in Maine did this horrible, horrible evil deed, and I think when he went rogue and they couldn't find him, I think they got on the phone. They said, "Okay, fire up." I think they already had plans in place for this kid in Colorado. And I think they called him up and said, "Hey, get the Colorado thing rolling. We need this. We need this support for gun control. We need this. This one went rogue. This one went off. We don't know what's going on here. We don't know if he's going to get out to the public. Fire up the case in Colorado. Get that rolling." And let's go from there. And I think once they did that, now I don't know what they threatened with this kid. Now I read an article where his family was talking about him, and he said that he was quiet. They never thought he would do anything like this. He was pretty quiet. He kind of kept to himself. He used to work at the dollar store till I think they said he lost his job, so the kid probably didn't have any money. He was living at home, and they wouldn't see him throughout the day, and he would typically stay up late into the night after everyone went to sleep playing video games, playing Call of Duty. So here you go. You got someone who was into Call of Duty, and I'm not picking on video games saying that they corrupt your brain. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But here you go. You have a person who's really into Call of Duty, he's really into warfare, stuff like that. And I think they said this kid actually wanted to be a law enforcement officer, so he's kind of into a bunch of that stuff, right? And I think, he was probably playing online late at night. Online, I'm sure they have plants. I'm sure they got feds, FBI, ATF, whoever on there looking for marks, looking for people. And I know this sounds crazy, but this is how I put it all together. And they probably found him, and they either offered him money, they threatened him. I don't know what they did to him, but I think they worked it up. I think they got him the gear and everything that he needed to do this horrible thing. And then I think they said, "Okay, go. This is how you get in. You're going to go to this bathroom. You're going to hide out in the bathroom. Then when the place opens, you're going to come out and you're going to start killing people. You're going to start shooting people." I think that's what happened. But I think they lost control of him. I think that when he got there, I think he was like, "This isn't me. This is not who I am." Whatever they threatened him with, I think he just said, "You know what, I'm dead anyway," because maybe they said, "We'll kill you and your family if you don't do this." I have no idea what they told him. And then I think he scrawled on the wall, "I am not a killer," and then I think he offed himself. That's exactly what I think happened. And I think that he was already in store. He was already, he was already up. He was up to bat almost. And he's just kind of waiting back here in the queue, waiting for his turn. And when the guy in Maine went rogue, I think they called him in. Because it all just works out way too... I don't know. It fits together too well for what they want. And then what I think happened is when he screwed up, the guy in Maine messed up their plans. And then when this kid in Colorado messed up their plans... I think what they did is they went, "Okay, well, he's dead in the bathroom. We're going to just say he had all this stuff on him," because they cover the gauntlet. They want your ghost gun. They want your guns, period, right? He had a rifle. He had a pistol. He had a ghost gun. How are you carrying all this stuff, by the way? He had bulletproof vests. He had ballistic helmets, right? All this stuff, right, that they want to take. This kid had. And then he had explosives, and he had fake explosives. Why did he have fake explosives? That's weird. They also said he had guns, and they said he had fake guns. Why fake guns? What are you going to do with a fake gun? Well, I got to thinking, and there's a few different things you can look at. You look at it as the fact that they want to even outlaw toy guns because they don't want people understanding firearms. They don't want the youth understanding firearms. They want to indoctrinate them and have them raised up thinking that guns and firearms are bad. But I also recall a story that was sent to me by a friend of mine, a subscriber to the podcast, a listener, and he actually came out and said that he sent me an article where this guy was talking about how the ATF had outlawed the importation of UTM rounds. Now, UTM is a company that produces training rounds, like simunition rounds. Sims is also another company, right? But they produce what we call Sims rounds, which essentially are their non-lethal rounds. It's like paintball on steroids. It's used for law enforcement training. It's used for military training, and it's great use for civilians to train with. Like, the most realistic training you can get is with training rounds, is with these Sims rounds or these UTM rounds. And they outlawed the sale of those to who? To civilians, to civilian trainers. It's only set up for law enforcement. It's only set up now for military. So they've nixed that. They've cut that off. Now, were these the fake guns that they're talking about? We've also heard in the past that in some states, they've tried to shut down ranges. They've tried to make training with your firearms illegal. They've tried to make shooting at a cardboard cutout of a typical IDPA style target, humanoid shaped target, with no human features on it at all. It's just the shape of it, right? They've tried to outlaw and ban and criminalize the use of those targets on range. So they obviously are coming after training. Now, think about back to the first guy that we talked about, the main shooter. They also stressed tons in that whole situation, that he was a firearms instructor. He was a firearms instructor. So they focused on that a bunch as well. This proves to you they're coming after everything. They want absolutely everything. And they are running out of time. They know they are running out of time. I think they are fearing when it comes to the next presidential election. I think they're fearing for that. And they are throwing everything they can at the wall to see what sticks. And I think, honestly, this was an act of desperation. I think more and more people are deciding that they do not want to do this anymore. They do not want to be a part of this. I think that their marks or their actors, the people that they work their magic on, the people that are maybe a little mentally unstable, which they caused, and the people that they push to do this, the people that they supply the guns and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of gear to go out and do these mass shootings, I think they're starting to go awry. I think they're starting to go bad on them. These people are like, no, I'm not doing this. And I think you saw that after the last two events that I just talked about. Honestly, I think that's what's happening. And we need to be aware of that. We need to pay attention to that, okay? And there's so much more stuff going on in this country, and they're trying to take our guns. They don't want us to be able to defend ourselves, whether we're going to be invaded by the government, whether we're going to be invaded by outside forces. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not one to say that the end is near, but just pay attention. Get a gun. Learn how to use it. Right? Become proficient with it. Teach your family. Be able to protect your family if you absolutely need to. Holiday seasons are coming up. Big gatherings, big family gatherings, right? Especially in Christmas. Families together. You're at Christmas concerts, Christmas plays, big events. Like you think about like New York. You have Christmas on Times Square. You have these great big places where people meet and come together on the for the holidays, for Christmas. You have Thanksgiving. You got big ball games. You have parades. You have all kinds of stuff. And what better place to do something like this would be at a big parade or a big event that was made public, that was streamed to TV, that was being streamed online, right? Pay attention. Watch your six. Be careful. I honestly think that we could see something. I'm not saying the end of the world, but we could see an event or events unfolding. If you follow all the social medias, I'm not going to get into it because not everyone's a big TikTok follower, but there's things going around, right? You look at them. You may look at them and you may see these things and you may be going, I don't know. We had 400 bulletproof vests stolen. We had 400 guns stolen from a UPS facility in Memphis, right? And now we also have open borders. So we've got military-aged men coming across this open border by the thousands, or tens of thousands, right? We're keeping them at peace. We're giving them their United Nations credit card, right? So they can go and they can live well, or I'm in America, I'm living well. What do you think happens if you shut that credit card off? What do you think happens if you take their money away? There could be rioting, there could be violence, there could be all kinds of stuff, right? You get someone and you feed them every day, and they're going to be your friend, and they're going to do what you say. You take away that food, and you can control that person. You take away that money, you can control that person. Say, well, the only way you're going to get this back again is if you go and do something for me. You can do it with food. You can do it with drugs. You can do it with free money. You name it, it can be done. And I think it will be done. And I think I'm going to wrap up this podcast. It's a little bit of a short one. I just, take it how you, maybe you don't like it. Maybe you like me talking more about the training stuff. And I definitely will get back to that as well. But this really stuck out as something I've been thinking about the last few days. And I've actually ran my theories and my ideas by a few people. I'm probably not the only one out there with this theory. I'm not going to say I'm some kind of genius, but I've run this theory by a few people, and they just kind of look at me and they're like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Is it true? I have not a clue. I have no clue. But what I do know is get a gun, arm yourself, learn how to use it. Understand that gun-free zones, that's right, gun-free zones are essentially just state-sponsored killing fields. And that's where these cowards go to do their deeds. There was a sign on the bowling alley in Maine that said, please do not bring your firearm here. Please do not, we understand that you're right, but please do not bring it in here. That was a gun-free zone. I don't know as far as how the signs in Maine, if they carry the weight of law or how that works up there. But a gun-free zone is essentially a state-sponsored killing field. Just know that. So there you go. If you like this, share it with your family, share it with your friends. I would appreciate it. Post it up on all your social media. That the only way we can grow is if you share it. If we share the podcast and grow the numbers, grow the listeners. It's free, man. It's free. The podcast is free. Sharing it on social media is free. Just feel free. Just do it. Do it. Holidays are coming. It'd be a great free gift. There you go. If you got any questions, you got any comments, you want to get a hold of me, you certainly can. Call me, text me, area code 620-794-6223. That's area code 620-794-6223. Everyone have a great week. Follow us on all the social medias. I will talk to you in probably just a few days. Talk to you later. Bye.